Do you think there was a little bit maybe of resentment too, because you hadn't had a youth, Neil, and also your youth had been taken up with your parents' ministry?
Maybe I felt some kind of resentment that I had no youth because I was always involved in church. But then I also felt that it was talking to me that how sometimes people are. I thought I knew him, my studies and my experience, my formation. But the Bible says we speak of things we don't know or understand. And I felt that I was one of those. Maybe there's people who haven't missed a mass in all their life or a rosary in all their life. Or maybe people who haven't been in ministry like I was that still don't know who really God is. And I guess I got knocked off my high horse at that moment. And I understood what he was trying to tell me, and I got off the bed. I managed to get on my knees, and I started to cry. And I went to prayer with my tears, and I told God, it's true, I don't know you, but I want to know you. And when I said that, I felt something that came over me, and it was a pain that I've never felt in my life or experimented in my life. It was so hard, that I thought my head was going to explode, and I started screaming. And the doctors came into the room, and they tried to hold me, and I kept screaming. But when what I was feeling was lifted from me, when I stopped crying and I opened my eyes, my sight had returned. So I was telling the doctors, I can see. And they didn't understand, they didn't know what was going on. So they started examining me, and the tumors and meningitis, all of that had disappeared. And that's why I was able to see. But I was still very sick because my heart condition, it was my heart that was taking my life. But doctors came in to tell me that they didn't understand what had happened, but that sometimes there was certain circumstances and people where people became better. But they told me, like in your case, but we don't want you to get any high hopes because you're still very sick and you're still dying. That's what their words. But another Neil was born in that moment. And I remember I looked at them and I told them, I'm not going to die. And they started telling me, well, we're telling you there's no medicine, no surgery, there's no transplant, nothing can save you. And I told them I'm not going to die. And they told me, but who has told you that? And we're the experts in your condition. And I told them, well, God told me I'm not going to die. I told him through his stripes. Because of his stripes, I've been healed. They didn't understand nothing I was saying. But at that moment, I started a whole new faith walk. I just believed that I was healed. And I insisted on going home. I insisted on leaving the hospital, something they didn't want to do because I was very ill. And well, my parents, they had signed a bunch of documents so they won't get, so no lawsuits will go against the hospital. Well, they allowed me to go home, and when I was walking out of the hospital, one of those doctors told me, I understand why you want to leave. If I only had 3 months to live, I wouldn't want to spend my last days here at the hospital. I would want to spend them next to the people I love. I knew he didn't understand. But I went home, and they told me to stay, not to do no activities, because I would accelerate my condition. I wouldn't last 3 months. And one day, looking into the drawers of my mother, I found that my parents that were ready for my funeral service. I found documentation, all the bills, and they already had done the payments for my funeral, so my death wouldn't catch them by surprise. They were ready for it. And later I found out that they had told my whole family to be ready on standby because it can happen at any time. So when I saw all those papers and I saw my name on it, I got very upset. And I went up to my parents and I tossed them the papers. And I told them, I said, Mom, Dad, either sell that or save it for somebody else because you're going to lose all your money. Because I am not going there. because I've been healed through his stripes.